Bonjour, this is the PrinceofMacedon doing a commentary video for Napoleon Total War multiplayer. I command the French, and my opponent is Cippio in command of the Prussians. And you can look at my army. I'm using every single new DLC that was added a few days ago. And I will show you those units up close later on, while the battle rages. But look at the Prussian army commanded by Cippio. He has tons of infantry. He has way more skirmishers than I do. He has 5, I only have 3. And he has slightly more line infantry than I do. He has 9 musketeers. But anyways, this is going to be my most heavily edited video ever. The actual battle was over 35 minutes long, non-stop action. But anyways, you see my opponent's horse unit, he's trying to sneak around to take out my howitzer and my general. But I was watching that. In any case, I took my Empress Dragoons and my Cuirassiers on a little bonsai charge here. I'm going to go for his howitzers myself, but I'm going to take a more direct route. And I'm going to crash right through his skirmishers. And it's not going to go too well, but that's what I do. Anyways, those are the Empress Dragoons, and they were named after the Empress Josephine. And they look kind of like Cuirassiers, except that they don't have the breastplates. Anyways, I took my Dutch and Polish Lancers to drive out my opponent's cav, who were sneaking around to take out my howitzers. So I kept a close eye on his guys, and he tried repeatedly to take out my howitzers from behind. Alright, so I was able to retreat my Empress Dragoons and my Cuirassier. Unfortunately for my opponent, he tried to chase him with his cav, but they took heavy fire from my skirmishers, so I actually routed that cav unit, and I wasn't even planning on that. So, a few minutes later, I took my Empress Dragoons and my Cuirassier, and I went on another mission with them. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to charge down a different route. And this time my opponent was better prepared, so I immediately lose my Empress Dragoons. So it was nice seeing these new units, but they are going to be the first ones who leave the battlefield. But my Cuirassiers live, and I'm going to charge right for his howitzers. But after all that musket fire from my opponent, my guys aren't going to last too long, not even against these artillerymen. So my guys actually rout. So it's kind of sad. Kind of sad losing to artillerymen. Anyways, my opponent has a lot more skirmishers. I only had 3, he had 5. So I was getting my butt kicked during this skirmish phase. See how he's able to pick my guys apart from long range? So that was one problem I had to address. Anyways, here's the action down my right flank. My opponent's actually doing really well here, but I had my I put my howitzers in the vicinity to support my right wing, and I scared away his general unit, and I also had my howitzers firing at his advancing Prussian troops. But it was very close there. And here's the action on the left flank. This is my my guard Seamen, and those are my Marines, and that's another new DLC. And they're dressed pretty much like hussars, but they actually routed because my opponent had so many musketeers on that flank. And this is the action on my right flank, and here's the action in the middle, and you can see a close-up of my Polish legions. Yeah, my opponent's launching all kinds of crazy attacks on multiple fronts. And you can see on the left flank on the mini-map that my opponent's coming down pretty hard. So I have to race some troops up there to stop that advance. And you can see even in the middle of my army, I'm getting slammed by my opponent's advance. So I'm bringing up my my Dutch Grenadiers to support my Polish Legion. And these guys came up just in time to stop this Prussian advance. So they're going to take aim and fire. And the Prussians over there, they were caught in a very bad formation, because I have my howitzers firing at them now. So his first rank of Prussian dudes are going to retreat, but it's a good thing my first howitzer didn't fire directly on them, but that one did. Alright, so here is the action on my left flank. I was able to bring out some troops to stop his Prussian advance. I got them on the hill just in time, but he still has way more infantry than I do. So I brought up my my Lancers to support my left wing. So pretty much my Lancers are everywhere on this battlefield. And I was able to crush that unit of musketeers before they formed into square. Now with that penetration, I can take my Lancers and lead all these strikes behind his right wing, which is the wing that's threatening my left wing. So for some reason the audio went mute, but you can still hear the music, so that's pretty good, right? Alright, so my opponent brought his general over. He's trying to stop my Lancer attack, and he was able to form those guys into square, so I'm going to bug out of there, because I don't want to stick around for that. My Lancers don't like geometry. Alright, so I'm going to charge these guys from behind, and I'm hoping they don't form into square, because if they do, I'm going to get out of there. And likewise, they do form into square. So it seems like none of his troops want my Lancers around. So I'm going to retreat, and now I'm just going to go for his general, because his general seems to be the only one vulnerable to my Lancers. And here my Lancers actually rout his general from the battlefield. So if it wasn't for my Lancers, my left wing would have crumbled a lot sooner. So after that success, I took my Lancers, and I went for more of his Musketeers. But after all that running, I'm pretty sure my Lancers were tired, so in this case, my Lancers met their match. And plus they were depleted from running into all those Prussian squares, so this is where I lose my Lancers. And those were my Dutch Lancers and my Polish Lancers. So the only new DLC that I have left are my my Polish Legion and my, the Dutch Grenadiers. Alright, so this is the action on my left flank. You can see he's still crushing my left. Here he's charging down my my Fusiliers, and he actually manages to rout them. So I pretty much don't have a left wing anymore. But anyways, here's my general. This is the only unit that managed to survive on the left wing. So I took my general and I started chasing down his routing units. Alright, this is now the final part of the battle. This is the climax, and hardly any of our guys have any ammunition left, so we have resorted to bayonet charges. And by the way, the last 5 minutes, this part, I'm not going to edit at all, because I wanted you guys to see this entire segment of the battle. But anyways, I have my Fusiliers, and I'm using my bayonets to chase these guys down, and I'm bringing out even more Fusiliers to support. Alright, here he has some Musketeers, and he's squaring off against my Polish Legion, but at this point my Polish Legion are heavily depleted, because they've done a lot of action in this battle, and it's unfortunate that you missed so much of it. But because my Polish Legion was so depleted, I took my general unit to strike his Musketeers from behind. But during that hammer and anvil strike, I lost my general. So there, I didn't really want to lose my general, because I just wasn't feeling it. But yeah, there's a lot of bayonet action going on, and this is because this is so late in the battle that that pretty much all of our guys have no more muskets to fire. So we're going to use the old school method. And here you can see my general unit and one of his Musketeers have routed from the battlefield. And look at the balance bar on the bottom left. See that blue? That indicates my strength. So the balance bar was all out of whack at this point in the battle, and I was heavily outnumbered. And if you look here, I have this Fusilier unit, and they're about to get sandwiched by 2 Prussian units from both sides. So I have my guys desperately trying to fire off their last few rounds of muskets, and trying to rout this first unit of Musketeers so I can turn around and strike the other Musketeers, and in that endeavor I was successful. So now I have to turn my guys around to meet the charge of this other unit of charging Musketeers. And yeah, my opponent still has more troops. Right there are his Silesian Schützen, and all I have left is that one unit of Fusiliers and my howitzer piece. And that's why the balance bar is showing that I'm heavily outmatched here. But here's a close-up of the action. My Fusiliers are going to fight for their lives against these Musketeers, but you can see that the Prussian Musketeers are breaking on the morale. See, it keeps going into the red meter, and that's not good for them. And once again, my Fusiliers are in danger of being struck from both sides, but at just the right time, I was able to rout his Prussian Musketeers, so I can turn around and meet the charge of his Silesian Schützen. And I also have my howitzer firing at his Schützen. And for some reason, I couldn't get my Fusiliers to stop charging that way. I meant to charge those Schützen, but they kept going the other way. So now his guys are going to run, because he doesn't want to fight, you know, Fusiliers head on like this, not with skirmishers. But you can see that he's out of ammunition as well, so I'm going to keep charging after them. And if you look at the balance bar, you can see that it's getting a little bit closer now. He still has one more unit, and it's towards the back of the map, because that's a Musketeer unit that routed, but they stopped routing. So he's trying to get them into action as well. But in the meantime, I'm not going to worry about them. I'm going to worry about these Silesian Schützen. And at this point I wasn't worried about these guys, because my Fusiliers there were a lot more Fusiliers than his Silesian Schutzen. And even in an equal fight, my guys could take out these skirmishers. So the only thing I have to worry about left are his musketeers who are coming back. And yeah, this is the last part of the battle. So it really came down right to the wire. And if you look at the balance bar, it's even again. But even if I lost my Fusiliers here, I still had my howitzer piece. So I was finally able to relax a bit, because I knew that he couldn't win this battle anymore. But I would have been happy with a loss here as well, because it was so close. But in any case, the reason why I brought all those new DLC is because I wanted to show them in action. And in case you're wondering, DLC, that stands for downloadable content. And recently they added more units to France and Great Britain. And I showed all of the French units in this battle. Anyways, with the results, good game to my opponent.